we are 21st of May. Status, we'll do demos, topics, demos. So who's got some demos? Not Lambic, not Nick.
We would just have a summary of what's going on in the branch. Maybe a demo next week about something quite interesting, actually.
Lambic, if we have time.
Not me, man. Sorry. Just serving.
Antoine, I don't know about anything. And Jasmine is fixing stuff. What? Okay, we'll see what we have new on the dev branch and for the demos. So status on 1.0. On Orchard 1, not 1.0. So the triage on Thursday was longer for Orchard 1 than OrchardCore. So we had since last week. Let's look first at what has been merged, and then we'll let Zoltan or Benedek talk about why they are doing that. We have a diff, fixing manual and automatic merge errors in account controller called styling, so code styling, fixing package references and assembly redirects, so updated references and redirections, like JSON, but this one will be updated somewhere else too, but here later. Display image and fixing that style sheets that don't exist shouldn't create shapes. Okay? Because in Orchard 1 a CSS is a shape, so you can is a shape template, so you can rewrite a CSS per theme, even though the URL will be the same. Fixing Orchard.Workflows requires styles that don't exist, an old issue that will generate lots of 404s. At the same time, well, you remove then the files that are empty, I assume. Good job. And then fix the issue which is there. Okay. Resource names. Okay.
Yeah, so actually what we did here is that the code here was looking at every workflow activity, and based on the activity's technical name, it tried to find, well, it didn't try to find the CSS file, it just assumed that it exists. So that's why there were lots of empty ones, not to throw errors. So what we did here is that we are looking at the assembly where the activity was loading from. We try to find the extension through the extension manager, and then try to find a matching CSS file in the extensions folder.
Okay.
So yeah, the nice thing about it is that now this way it works with themes as well. I don't know why would you put a workflow activity in a theme, but whatever. And it also works with the custom extension path that you can define in the web config. Previously, it was only working with modules that were explicitly in the modules folder.
And this is done once per site.
What do you mean?
Well, how many times is the resource manifest provider called?
It's every page load.
Aha.
What could go wrong?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I guess it should be cache.
Yeah, but ensure that this is not called on every page calls. Exactly. So if it's not, then that's fine. But I don't remember. Maybe not, because it's a.
I think that's loaded on.
I would say no. I'm not sure. That's right.
Okay. Well, Mark said it's loaded on every page load, which is okay. That's not good.
Okay.
Actually. All right. Okay. So this needs to be cached.
Okay. So what branch is that? This is 110x, so DefaultContentManager performance upgrades. Yeah, just an optimization on the get many and the get many by version ID to not run something that does not have to be run otherwise. Null check in localization, content translation, edit. Null check here, fixing an issue with content localization from Hermes. Permission check for taxonomy terms and widgets during translation. Authorization event handler. So this is just converting some content permissions, standard content permissions into taxonomy ones, in case it's using the default content controller instead of the taxonomy controller. So here the event handler will check, are you actually checking for a standard content permission on a term? Then no, you should check for the term permission. So it's adjusting the permission for that thing, and you will provide the same thing for other types that have their own controller, like menu items, like site settings, maybe workflows, and that have the same issue. Then update Newtonsoft to 12.0. Okay. Textbox or specifying default value to NumericField re-added.
Yeah, it was removed in a match conflict. Incorrectly resolved match conflict.
Okay. Removing IProjectionManagerExtension, because the idea is that in 110x we added a new interface not to break the existing interfaces, but in the dev branch we can break the interfaces, and it's a minor breaking change. So this change is to remove this extraneous interface, to merge it in the single one, IProjectionManager, with new method. Moving query version scope options to the modes folder, code styling. Merge 110x into dev branch, then OpenID unifying web config assembly reference. So these ones, they were not from PR, so they're new. OpenID unifying web config assembly reference to the Orchard star. Okay. Code cleaning. Glimpse, remove web config references to Orchard framework and OrchardCore, as this project doesn't have views. Okay. Azure tests, updating, JSON. Okay. Merge DraftFieldIndexService into FieldIndexService, and the idea being that you can store the draft version and the non-draft version of fields. I think, if I remember correctly, from code triage here. Okay. Both values, not just just one or the other, or both values?
So the value has the published value, and the latest value is for the latest version. So depending on how you save the content item, one of them will be updated. Or actually, if you publish it, then the latest value is the value, I assume.
Yeah, because I think the goal here is to have the two values, the latest and the value. Otherwise, there will be just one field. It's just updated once you do a publication or once you create a draft. It just updates one of the fields, but it stores the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Fixing ProjectionManager can return duplicate results when using multiple fixed groups. Yep. Okay, an old PR, I assume. Good. Thank you. So what did you want to say?
Nothing in particular. So yeah, we actually the whole team is now working on 1.11 fixes. So hopefully we will have something that is released ready soon. And there are a couple of issues where we are looking for your feedback actually. If you can reply to them, that would be nice, and we can maybe discuss them on Thursday's meeting. Couple of issues that are more complex or have kind of inexact resolution.
Okay.
So it's hard to say where to go. Yeah.
So, and what are you working on?
So why are we working on these issues, you mean?
Yeah, what project are you working on?
Nothing in particular. We have a couple of fixes that were coming from client projects, but now we just want to get Orchard 1.11 released as soon as possible. So yeah, we are doing this. Yeah, after a long time, we are doing this bug fix days basically. We had one last week and we had one today as well. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Then OrchardCore. Refresh. Here. Why is that? Whoa. Jasmine, what is he doing? Then 7 days, return blah, blah, blah. Wait, so that's add sort supported size. We saw that too. Is the dev branch the yellow one? Yes, yellow, then pink. Up. So this is Jasmine working on something which is very long here. What is that? Create and add. Yeah, I haven't mentioned it yet. Okay. So dev branch here, fixing bag and flow item removal for JavaScript issues since we changed the way we do confirmations. Jumping here, wire GraphQL query filter. Ooh, I didn't merge it. Who merged it? Nick Main. So what is it about? I think it was because there was something documented but not implemented, so now it's fixed. Content items query filters, okay, to be able to customize the queries.
That was exactly it. So we had a feature that we forgot to include when we merged the stuff in, and Carl asked me why it doesn't work, and it doesn't work because I forgot to include it. Yeah, so it's basically just a way of adding additional queries on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It works nicely.
Until it doesn't work anymore on something else.
Well, until it doesn't work anymore, and then yeah. But I'm not the one fixing it. Carl is. Yeah.
Okay. Looks good. Features list prevent form submit on searchbox. This is bad. This is not worse than before, but this is bad because it's not translated. It was the case before. That's why I'm saying it's not worse than before. It's just that now it's highlighted. I see it, and I didn't see it before. So this should be translated. So this is wrong. Okay, this is just a tooltip, but still it should be translated. So that and fixing what? Prevent form submit on searchbox. So don't submit the form when you search something in the search box. Here it's mostly auto format from Visual Studio, and then the actual fix to prevent the form submission when you hit enter on the search text box. Okay. Then build error if a module with views doesn't choose the Razor SDK. So this is a filter, like an automated build step, so that if you create a module and you have views inside, and you didn't correctly use the Microsoft Net SDK Razor SDK, not that you have to install anything, but in the projects files, there is an SDK tag at the top, and you define which SDK the project should be built with. And when you have views, you need this SDK. When you have Razor views, you need this SDK to be able to get precompiled views and embed them in the assemblies. So now what Jean-Thierry is doing is that if you have views and you didn't do that, it will fail the build automatically. Otherwise, it will fail at runtime because it could not find specific assets or views or whatever. So now it will prevent that. And also, maybe you started with a standard class library which didn't have views, then you add a view and you don't understand why it doesn't work anymore. So that's fine. Yeah, we had many times people complaining about things that didn't work, they didn't know why, so it's a safeguard. Extension methods for supported culture, the idea being that the list of supported culture is the supported culture that you define and the default culture that you are handling as a default, as a fallback. And this helper is doing that, is concatenating the default one and the supported cultures, so you don't forget about it, because in the side settings there are a set of supported cultures and also the default culture. Then use it. Then fix content items list post confirmation. Fixing the confirmation message again. Here, the select list item, last week I talked about not using it in the views because otherwise the text will be double encoded because it will use an HTML localizer. Here it's used in the controller and T is a string localizer, so it's safe to use .value because it doesn't have to be encoded when you call .value. And it's only when the selected list item will be rendered that this text will be encoded. So it will be encoded, HTML encoded only once. But from a view, it would be wrong to do that because there would be double encoding on the .value and on the rendering of the list item. Okay. Jasmine is everywhere. Content list implement bulk action button. Voila, there is a demo that you can do. Jasmine, show us the bulk action. Markdown editor, CSS and toolbar improvements. We could also look at it because Jasmine will open the dev branch. A safer path. Yeah, the idea is that Dean made some adjustments on the CSS to make the simple MD and the Markdown editor, which is the same one. The simple MD is the Markdown editor, to make it look like the other parts of the editor, of the edit page. This is to prevent some exceptions when recreating an index. Fixing variables and class name for GitHub Auth from Ryan Gunn, who read the code from my kill and fixed it. Fix admin menu arrow style for the right to left styles from Isham being his alias, Isham. Prevent file store exception, so preventing an exception for the attached media field. Isham fix CodeMirror RTL issue in query modules, so that the CodeMirror editor is only left to right. Twitter client and update status workflow activity, so which was merged. Twitter APIs, Twitter widget, Twitter signing updates, so you can now create tweets from the workflow module. Awesome feature. So whenever you publish a blog post, you could have a tweet automatically written. And admin CSS wrong BS4 version, the idea being that if you create pull request and don't update to the dev branch, then you will also submit an old version of bootstraps and assets and people will have to fix it again. So fixing it again here. And the only way to prevent that is by having a CI task that will ensure that the version that is committed and rebuilding the assets doesn't change anything. If there is a discrepancy between the code that you submitted and rebuilding the asset freshly, then there should be an issue. So we can't automate it, but we can fail the build to detect it. That will be an improvement, the same way that Chantieri made the fix on the Razor SDK. We could at least show the issue before you get the issue, well, before we commit the issue or you try to deploy the issue. So maybe we should take the time to do it, because we've had this issue many times already, and doing that will help us for later. This is just me playing with the 3.0 branch, trying to make it work on the benchmarks, performance benchmarks. We'll see later. Jasmine, do you want to show us the two little things that have changed?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think you need to, yeah, okay.
Just because everyone from Lombic is looking, and they will be like so sad to use an old admin experience compared to the new one.
I was trying to just...
We do use OrchardCore, just the only the one that you haven't released.
And then 1.12 sometime later.
So yeah, here I added the filters. Well, they were there. So last week I decided to make them look better. So, and there was an issue where when you were filtering the items and doing history back, it was doing a post form confirmation error page. So now it's fixed.
Good, it's a get now.
Yeah, it's a get. Yeah. So you can also do that and move back, and it's going to work perfectly. And I added the select all. This thing, it was not implemented. I think the controller action was there, but the buttons were not there. So I just added them. We can unpublish them all and publish them all. That's about it.
That's great. It was fast. Good.
Yeah, it's really fast.
Good. And can you show us the Markdown editor?
Yeah, it's
yeah, you don't have a blog
maybe
here.
In a page. No.
Nope. Nope, you don't have that. So add a Markdown body.
Have we changed our Markdown editor yet?
What? What are you saying?
Did we move away from simple MDE?
Nope.
We're still on it, are we?
Yeah, and now it's better.
Oh God.
No, there is nothing better. This is a Markdown editor. Are you talking about the HTML editor instead?
No, the Markdown one.
No, you need to select the editor.
Yeah.
Because I think the one that we use, simple MDE, isn't supported anymore, right?
It works. Look, so now the toolbar is the same as the other editors.
Nice.
And even in full screen, there is a full screen mode.
Does it work in mobile?
I
don't think it works on. I don't think it works when you type on. It doesn't work when you type on your phone. That's the big issue with this Markdown editor. Is it's not mobile friendly.
Can you open the phone mode in Chrome?
Yes.
You need to go on native on like iOS. But so like the whole, like capitalization on your phone. So if you hit enter and you start typing and it does capitalization on the first letter, that doesn't work. Yeah, there's a bunch of issues with this thing.
Yeah, we
could
could try.
good.
We have a site called Try Orchard. Project.net. You can try it on your phone.
We implemented it on patient info and found the issue. Yeah, I'll send you the bug. You'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it looks nice.
Perfect. Wow.
Yeah,
How do you live?
I guess that way. You need to reverse the phone.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Nothing else, I think, for demos, Matthias. I don't think there was something new. I think that's it. Topics, questions. We had time for Lombic. So if I say share screen. Topics, because we have some time. Let's talk about some things. An issue that Nick is here, so that's good. Rustem commented this morning on an old issue. So let's talk about it. Command line.
Oh yeah.
This one, updated 3 hours ago. Consider command line support for OrchardCore in April. I see some command line support, but it was removed. Who did that? I did it.
You removed it.
Yeah, because it was incomplete and it was super slow. So it was making things slower, so I just removed it. Well, the code is still there, it's just not bootstrapped. And the code that is currently in for command line support is the same concept as Orchard 1, right? Where modules can provide custom commands with the command line extensibility. And
yeah, I don't think we need that anymore. I think we can go with the newer stuff, can't we?
Okay, so this is why I commented here to answer for Rustem. The idea being that I talked about it with James Restall, who worked also with Nick on the GraphQL implementation. They have the same ideals, apparently. So yeah, the idea will be to have a CLI that is not in process of the Orchard host, but out of process, like a very separate .NET CLI, but that will talk HTTP with the host and the tenants, so that we could even use the CLI to remote control some tenants or instances. We don't have to run the CLI on the machine that runs Orchard. That is a big pain in Orchard 1. I know, for instance, the site I manage that has 800 tenants. When I run the CLI, well, it loads in the CLI the 800 tenants. So it takes the full memory just to load the CLI. And I really dislike it. So yeah, I think being able to run remotely the CLI would be nice. And I was also suggesting, and I think that's what James had done with the Node.js prototype, to automatically discover the commands from the API, because when you create an API, we could also describe the API and how it can be used, so that the CLI will just be a remote client that will display all the available endpoints as commands, and also the parameters and their documentation. So the CLI itself will have very little knowledge of what can be done on Orchard, but by connecting to the Orchard instance, will then discover the commands and their parameters and the descriptions that are available. That will allow lots of interesting scenarios. Also, what James had done was in Node.js, and I would really prefer to use a .NET version of that, instead of having to install Node just to be able to manage Orchard. There are some advantages in using Node, but if we can provide the same tools just with .NET, I would prefer very much to do that. Any opinions, ideas, concerns about these design? Everyone agrees. Beautiful.
Sounds fine to me. Yeah.
So and you specifically, because you made the command line integration, which is then in this case completely obsolete if we want to go to the HTTP mode. And by the way, it could be an API, or maybe just say let's rely only on GraphQL, using mutations and whatever other things in GraphQL. So every thing will be a GraphQL verb or endpoint, not endpoint, but action, API, that will be described in GraphQL and communicate with the .NET CLI. That could be interesting. Like there could be an endpoint called commands that will list all the commands and then describe everything, and then we could invoke another GraphQL query based on that description. So that's some decisions to take. Or it will just be REST API and use Swagger to do it. So up to us to decide. Opinions?
Well, if we went with GraphQL, that means we would be forced to do the mutation story, which we wanted to do anyway. So
well, it's there. The mutation story is there, but we don't have any mutation. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, yeah, we could resurrect the ones that I originally did.
Yeah,
and that should help. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the only thing is, yeah, we need mutations to do things that require changing data. But yeah, it's already there. We just need to agree on how the command line will work and how a command has to be implemented. If we say it's GraphQL, then everyone will have to do their commands using the GraphQL APIs. And maybe it will be completely abstracted, so you just create a command and, well, it happens to show up in the GraphQL, but it could show up anywhere else also. Yeah, we might also be able to do, I don't know, a Swagger endpoint that is generic enough to call also these commands if people prefer to do Swagger style or REST style than GraphQL. Okay, but yeah, I assume everyone agrees that doing it through the network is better than doing it in process. And command lines, like the setup module will expose, well, that's an issue because setup module doesn't expose the GraphQL module first, but we could have REST APIs also for that. We already exposed some commands to create tenants, to set up a site. We just need now a command line to be able to do that. Today you have to do a curl, and tomorrow maybe we just do .NET or Orchard.NET and space create site, and it will create a tenant, set it up, and everything. Should be good. Thank you, Nick. Other topics? Questions? Comments? New size?
Question.
Yep.
So what's the deal with .NET 5?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, okay. So even inside Microsoft, right? So nobody has any idea what's
oh yeah, I'm sure people have ideas. I don't know. I don't know what they know.
Okay. Okay, that's kind of the answer I expected. Okay, thanks.
I'm still not, we still haven't shipped 3.0, so we still need to answer the 3.0 decisions. So that, yes, new sites, I tweeted about it, and I think now it's on Show Orchard. This new website from Ardarian from Cloud Construct. Beautiful. Bethany, this is a new site also. Let's see, open the website. Can I open the website? How do I open the website? I click here, okay, and this one, this end view source. You see theme and Orchard. Oh, there is no generator here because I assume I don't know.
It is in the response header. You can see it.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, that's why I was looking at, because I know it's there. But so we are not. I completely forgot. We decided not to maybe render it automatically in the, because it's based on the resource. Yeah, that's what we said. Okay, just the header. So F5 here. Boom, there. So please don't remove it. If you can not remove it, please don't. And this one, same thing. F5. Beautiful, super fast, but this one is cheating for it's using Cloudflare, this one, so everything is cached on the CDN. We can see it on the network. There should be some Cloudflare requests. We don't see them here.
So when are you going to migrate all the weblog stuff across?
I am not doing it. I don't have time. And there are the old blogs and the new blogs. I like to do the new blogs, but that's a different story. Yeah.
There's new blogs.
No, the current, the MSDN blogs, the new, they are new. These ones.
Oh, right. Those are the ones.
This is an old one. Where is the new one? This one?
Is this stuff running
Yeah.
on Orchard?
No.
On Racco?
No. Why would it run on .NET?
Oh God. What's it run on?
Well,
Node?
no.
PHP?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
It's WordPress.
What? So, you kidding me?
No, it's WordPress. Why? It's the best tool.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bit disappointing.
No, it's awesome. If you want to do some development, use WordPress. Okay. If you want to host, no, F#, or I'm so stupid. So let's say you work on .NET and you are the ASP.NET team. You really want your blog on WordPress.
Does it run on .NET at least with PHP?
No, I think that will be worse. That would be worse to run WordPress on PHP, in my opinion, because in terms of you can just have more issues, right? That would be politically interesting, but meh. I mean, there is a risk, there is a memory leak or a bug or whatever, and you are stuck on that, and you never know. So why would you add a layer just because here the reason is really to have the best blogging tool that exists today, the most reliable. So if you take this decision, but at the same time you use an abstraction like or a new layer like PHP, then you are not using the most reliable tools known so far. Okay, that's the issue. So, but no, I would have preferred it to be on .NET for sure. There are many options on .NET, but this was not my decision. So that's why I'm talking about the new blogs, which are not also on Orchard. Yep. And what was I saying? Yeah, the new sites, nice ones. I know for sure that the first one was done using theming because they tried to use the decoupled approach, but the customer really liked the preview thing to be able to see what the page will look like, the WYSIWYG edition. And if you use decoupled, it's not supported yet. There are ways to make it work, but we need to refactor how the preview works. But this was a showstopper, so they went with a theme solution instead of a decoupled, and it still works very fine because their experience on Orchard 1, and it was easier to theme on OrchardCore than Orchard 1. The fact that you can remove a named shape from the list of shapes was helping a lot. And the other one from Bethany, I don't recall how they did it, if they were using decoupled or not. I don't remember. So we'll have to ask one day if they join us. Yep. Questions?
Two things. Slate.js type code is actually very good and is really mobile friendly. And two, Harvest. What's going on with that?
So Slate.js, well, there is an issue open. You can work on it.
I'm too busy. I've got to go to India for a month, man. So I'm too busy. So.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you later. But
well, we all know why you are going to India. So.
Work.
And so Slate.js, yes, Slate.js is a React component for creating custom editors, and you can create Markdown and HTML editors with that, and very extensible. So that's one suggestion to use as one of the available editors for HTML and Markdown in Orchard. Then Harvest, I have no clue when we can do it. Based on the progress on core, we could totally have something in September, October, like we envisioned last time also, in a hot location, warm location, and it will be 5 months, so that's totally doable. Why not? All OrchardCore and a little bit about Orchard 1.11, because there will be some people from Lambic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not doable. Yeah, we talked about it recently again, so that's more and more probable that we can do that soon, because core is well advanced and is used in many sites already in production. I just showed you two new sites, and I assume there will be more this week. So yep, that's a possibility, and then that would be also a very good way to work on a workshop, a public workshop, free online public workshop that we could also give during the harvest, because I assume for most people core will be new and people will be interested in core and we want to learn, and that will be the best opportunity to learn that. So a day of workshop on OrchardCore would be, I think, awesome.
Nice one. One other question is the commerce module. How's that coming along? Do you know?
Well, Bertrand gave me an update. He asked questions, so I know what he's working on. He said he will do a demo once the shopping cart module is done, and he's made some good progress apparently. So he's working on that. He's got a new job though. He's working for a new team in Microsoft, so maybe it will take some time for him to get at ease with his new job, and then have more free time outside of work to work on his e-commerce. But I know he's made some progress. He said he will give us a demo and then he couldn't join, and then he said, okay, let's finish the shopping cart first. But he's made some progress.
Nice one. Cool.
Thank you. Did I miss anything here? Nope. All good? No other questions? Perfect.
Nope.
And also, yeah, so Patient is using...
You should talk to what's his face? Oh, Patient. I was just about to say you should talk to Patient about OrchardCore. What they're using it for.
I want to see it used. Usually it's already used, maybe not on the main site, but...
What, the GraphQL side of things?
Yeah. Well,
you want the GraphQL API? If you wait 2 seconds, I can get it for you.
No, whatever... I don't want to access it, but whatever they are using, I'd like to know what they are doing, like as a showcase. It would be interesting. I know they are using it, I just don't know where and how. Well, the GraphQL for sure, but what side, that's a different story.
Sorry, say that again, Sebastian?
No, I just don't know exactly where, on what part of the site they are using it. I know they are using GraphQL on OrchardCore, but
they're not using it on they're not using it on the web page. They're using it on it's a completely separate URL. So it's basically the whole site as a GraphQL endpoint, and you can query the whole thing. I just need to remember where the endpoint is, and I'll get it for you.
Okay. Later.
Maybe.
I'm not sure it's public, so. Okay, good then. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday for the triage, or next week. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.